Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning into Digital PR Explained. Today, I'm joined by Nicole Pomije. Nicole is the co-founder of Pitch Peach and the creator of the Cookie Cups, which is a Minnesota-based company that creates baking and cooking kits for kids and has been featured in the New York Times, Good Morning America, and the Today Show. Nicole is an entrepreneur with over 13 years of experience. She's currently based in the Twin Cities area. And just to give you all also an idea of Pitch Peach, it's a membership based PR platform that Nicole also co founded. Nicole is a super busy lady. I'm so excited to have her here today. Welcome to Digital PR Explained, Nicole.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. This is so exciting.
I'm so excited to have you here too today, Nicole. I know we haven't really talked a lot about founder stories and how to pitch those in particular. So this is a new topic for this show. And thank you for pitching it and coming on. Let's go right into the questions that I have prepared. Can you walk us through the real origin story of the cookie cups and explain what sparked the idea and what was going on in your life at the time?
Well, years ago, literally 10 years ago, things were a lot different. I was baking in my kitchen one day. I was still doing PR, but I was baking and didn't have the right pan to make cookies and had this weird mini cupcake tin in the back of my pantry. And let me make these cookies in the shape of cupcakes. I know it sounds like so basic, but this sparked this crazy idea where everything was shaped like a cupcake. So I started making cupcakes for family gatherings, started taking them to farmers markets, festivals, and local things like that. We even got some local media in the local newspapers and just kind of spreading the word that this was happening, which really helped with small catering orders. And then I decided to renovate a space that I thought would make a great little bakery for this brand. Um, so this is taking me back here, but uh, one thing led to another. We opened after about 9 months of renovating, and we did really, really well that first year. And then I decided to open a second location for the Cookie Cups Bakery. So at the time, this was pre-pandemic. And in my head, I'm like, okay, if one can work, maybe two can work, maybe even three locations could work. And, maybe this turns into a bakery franchise. Maybe this is the new thing. Um, and then we got hit with the pandemic and we had to close. So it seems like, it just seemed like we were not really meant to be working in that way. So what we did at the time is take our cooking classes and birthday parties and kind of package them into these shippable kits, which of course led to this whole other business. Yes, we're the same brand, we're the Cookie Cups, but during the rebrand, it became clear that this was really something completely separate, that had to be marketed and pitched a different way, to different editors, to different types of media outlets. And so that's what we did. We started with two shippable kits. Now we have more than 15, and we're actually coming out with a whole brand new line of mini kits for retail grocery locations. So it's been really interesting to see the response from the media, as well as from our customers.
It's really interesting. I didn't realize that it started with bakeries, honestly.
Mhm.
And it's funny because personally, I worked at a cupcake shop. So I
That's
was
so funny.
curious. Yeah, I was curious what year was that when the bakeries
So
were opened?
we opened Bakery One in April 2018. And we
Okay.
opened bakery too in October 2019.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And
That
then,
was like a big thing back then, cupcake
well,
shops.
yeah, and we were actually looking at a third location when the pandemic came. So it's a good thing we didn't open the third location, but we didn't really close the bakeries right away. I mean, we kept them open and kind of used them as an outlet for um, running, building and like running this new business. And we were like shipping baking kits out of the bakery in the beginning, which was a little bit crazy, um, but we transitioned and we ended up closing both locations, kind of one after the other, and onward and upward with
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you were juggling everything, baking the cupcakes at the brick and mortar like bakeries. You were handling delivery, I'm sure.
Yep.
And you were also, working to promote these cookie cup kits
Yeah.
that you had created. How did you approach promoting your brand when you were juggling everything? Like that just
Um,
seems
yeah,
crazy.
it's
Kudos to you.
still a juggle. I still feel like I'm juggling all the time. It's just about it's time management. My time management skills are continuously getting better and better, and it's just all about managing your time properly. Like, if I want to work on a new kit and do recipes for 6 hours tomorrow, like I'm just going to put it into my schedule and that's what it is. Um, and if I want to spend my time writing up pitches and researching some new editors and, maybe reaching out to some old editors that covered this, in the beginning and might want some samples of new kits, I mean, it's literally about like putting time on your calendar for what you want to do. And if something pops up, that's okay. I mean, if you have time for it, great. If you don't, put it on your calendar for later. Give yourself a reminder. I have to-do lists in my phone that are just crazy amounts of to-do lists. I have to-do lists, then I have like today, like today to dos. I mean, it's just an endless sort of juggling act. And I'm also a mom to two kids. So summer tends to get a little bit crazy with the different schedules. And, in the fall too, with the different school schedules, gets a little crazy. So, yeah.
Well, let's talk about that. I mean, you identify as a mom, you are an entrepreneur, you're a baker. How do you approach, I guess, how do you leverage those identities as opportunities for press? It sounds like you do a lot of storytelling and
Well, yes. It's kind of like, it, I mean, if I'm launching a new kit or a new something like that, it's really important to focus on that specifically. But if we have some time and we can do some of the fun stuff, I can talk about like being a mom and kind of how that affects, for different outlets like Motherly and Parents Magazine. There's different opportunities to talk about just being a mom and like, whether or not to involve your kids in the business or whether or not, um, you know, how to get your kids involved in the business, I think is kind of a good one too. Um, so it's not just about the juggling. It's about like being like a positive role model and an example for your kids and showing them that you can do anything that you set your mind to. Um, and you know, that's it, period. But being a mom is definitely, my top priority. Like my daughter has grown up with this business. She's 7. So, she was literally a baby when we opened up the first bakery location. And she feels like this is like a part of her like life. It's not just a job. And for her to be able to see that you don't just have to go and get a job somewhere, you can create something, I think it's really unique and really important for kids to learn that.
yeah. Oh, that's so special.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we talk about, if it's okay with you, one of the big media placements that you're super proud of for your company, Cookie Cups. So,
Yeah.
Can you walk us through maybe how the pitch came to be and
Yes.
okay,
Um,
perfect.
so I'm actually really proud of all of our media hits. Every single one, even the small little roundups that, were included with a couple other products type of thing. Um, but I think our relationship with the team at Good Morning America is has really been valuable over the years. They have multiple outlets, but Tori Johnson has really been like a champion of our brand, and since the beginning, even she, I think, like even mentioned on TV at one point that she was just in awe of everyone that's had to pivot and like completely change their company and, you know, do it the way that we have. So I'm really proud of that relationship that we've built. I think that may have actually been like a cold pitch in the beginning. I don't remember, but I know the pitch was kind of it was a little bit of storytelling. It was like just kind of telling our story about having to shut down our bakeries during COVID and kind of come up with this way to stay in business, but completely different. And we sent over like some imagery of the new kits and of the bakeries, and really just like told the story and in this like raw, um, like unfiltered sort of way. Um, and they just loved it. And we've been like featured. We've had, I think, almost all of our products featured on Good Morning America over the past 4 or 5 years, multiple times. So it's been a really great way to reach new customers for us, and also to reach even like we've reached universities through them. We've had a lot of different types of businesses contact us for like large orders and like just company like pizza making for 50 people and gift like big gifting. I mean, it's been really interesting to be a part of what they do. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I
Yeah.
mean, I've heard crazy stories about how companies will go on Good Morning America and they're just not prepared for the amount of
So let me
customers
actually,
they get.
I
So
want to
kudos to
address that
you.
actually. That's really so I'm gonna go open with this right now. So we were working with Good Morning America for a long time, for a few years, and we were very prepared. We have had sales where we've sold over 2,000 pizza kits overnight, and we had the staff, we had everyone in place to do it. Um, so we were able to build that relationship because they knew that we could fulfill.
Mm.
And this goes for everyone going into like retail or like that side of things as well. Being ready is really, really the most important thing. Um, we did have a case where we were ready and things didn't go the way that we had planned. We had we had kind of a change of staff during one of our big sales with Good Morning America, and um, we had a little bit of a shipping setback. So we were able to work with the team and like let them know what was going on, um, and we salvaged it. I'm not sure that everyone was happy with that outcome from the the business side, but we did make it work. And I want to like really, that is something that I don't always share, but I think that that's an important thing to see, that like no one's perfect. Like even the best of products and companies can make mistakes, and like not even make mistakes, but things can happen that are out of your control, and you just kind of address them and do the best that you can. So, but anyway, going back to earned media, I think that whether it's Today's Show, Good Morning America, whether it's like retail partners, I think that you kind of have to look at them almost as like an extension of your brand as a partner, because they're literally talking about your brand. So you have to be like really honest and transparent with them for everything that's going on. If you want to like tell the story um, about how like we made a mistake and we like conquered it, like, just be really transparent about what you want this story to look like, because sometimes the story that even they had in mind, yours might be better. And they just might be like, you know what, let's just scratch this whole idea. Like what you're saying right now is like something that every business needs to hear. So I think that that's really important too.
Yeah, authenticity, transparency, those are the two big things that I'm hearing from you right now, and
Yeah.
that makes sense. Um, I guess too, you mentioned, well, you kind of alluded to this, but your founder story, it has evolved over the years that you've been open. How do you keep the narrative fresh and relevant as your business grows?
Yeah, I think I just as we grow, like I said about like the challenge that we overcame, I kind of opened the door to different chapters of like what's gone on. Um, that's how I keep it fresh because I mean, and of course, like releasing new products is important, but in terms of the business side, being a founder, being a business owner, it's basically an endless cycle of problem solving that you need to do. So I think sometimes, like maybe talking about a problem that you solved, that's a really cool thing for other people to hear, because sometimes when you're a business owner, you're like stuck in this box and you think you're the only one dealing with this, and you think that you're like never going to get through it, like whatever the problem is. It could be the simplest thing, um, but you are like you can fix any problem, and it's okay. Like we've all been there, we've all done that. And I mean, I still am fixing every day. There's some weird thing that like arises that I have to deal with, whether it's, I mean, it could even be like where the flour doesn't work in the pretzel kit, like something that seems like so simple can lead to like a 5-hour trek for the perfect flour, and then the testing and retesting. And it's just there's always something that pops up that that you don't expect. But like, isn't that a great story about like how like the pretzel flour that arrived like didn't work for the pretzels for some reason. We don't know why, but now we're on a 5-hour trek to fix the pretzel kit. Like it's so funny and small, but it's like real world, it's real business problems and real business solutions, and sometimes those make the best media stories.
My final question for you, and it relates back to your story about flour and
Yeah.
how you went on a journey of finding the perfect flour and
Yep.
it wasn't working in the kit that you had, I think is what you were saying.
Yeah.
Um, and so, like,
And that can go for any that was a kind of an example, but that can go for any product. Like
yeah.
if you're if you're making a chocolate bar, same thing. It could be one of the ingredients in your chocolate bar. It could be the wrappers came too small. I mean, it
Mm.
can be anything. So,
Well,
yeah.
my question for you, like a lot of founders might think, not even see the story in that situation and might not
Mhm.
think that it's interesting enough to pitch. So, what advice would you give when it comes to finding confidence in the stories that they have to work with?
Well, I think sometimes you can reach out to different editors, like Business Insider kind of comes to mind for this. Sometimes I'll reach out to an editor and say, introduce myself if I don't already know them, and give them a background, and then say we have a few different ideas for stories. Give them a potential title, give them kind of a little um, boilerplate on what it could be about, and maybe give them 3 options and see what they say, see if they come back, see if they are interested in any of them. You can kind of let them guide it from there. But sometimes just pull together your stories and present them all.
I love that advice. I mean, it sounds so simple too. I mean, three different options, it seems, in the email, just a few quick sentences about each, nothing crazy. Summarize it so that it's succinct and to the point. Find the right journalist, I'm sure, is a huge component of that success, right? And saying this is who I am. Here are some ideas, some article ideas, or some story ideas for you to consider, and let me know what you think, and just start the conversation and go from there. That's fantastic advice.
I do want to quickly mention, I know we're probably going to wrap up, but I do this for clients as well. So I'm constantly, whether it's a doctor, a CPA, another CPG company, I'm constantly literally doing this for clients. So it can be, on the other side of it, it can be more challenging if you aren't as familiar with whether it's like the media for business, for example. Like if you're only in the food space but you want to tell a business story, it can get a little bit complicated. Uh, but just kind of in the same way, like you can always take multiple ideas, or you can reach out to new editors. Like, don't be afraid. These are people behind the lens here. The most important thing about media is to establish and create these relationships where you know that they'll respond to you, because otherwise you're like pitching into like the abyss, basically. So like I know that I can reach out to a few editors and they'll at least respond to me and give me some feedback, which is also important.
Yeah, yeah, that's wonderful. I completely understand and agree with where you're going there. All right. Well, Nicole, thank you so much for your time. And this has been really, really interesting and insightful. And I know so many folks who work with founders, or maybe they're a founder themselves, are going to get a lot out of this conversation. So thank you again for being so generous with your time and for joining me on the podcast.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.